Hi, I'm Jason Bill, the owner of WilmingtonRealEstate.com. That's Wilmington-Real-Estate.com. So why aren't more of these high-end luxury waterfront homes for sale in Wilmington selling? The Intracoastal waterfront real estate in Wilmington, North Carolina. For every 10 that list, about 8 are being canceled, withdrawn, or expiring. What's with our market? Do we have a weak sauce market? What's going on? Who are these buyers and what are their motivations? And why are they stingy? Or does our market just stink? What's going on? And if you're a buyer, how do you know how much to spend on these very unique properties with infrequent comps? I mean, my gosh, you could overpay by $2 million easily. And for most folks buying these homes, they're doing it with cash, and it's a final home for them. So every dollar counts. I don't care if you're a millionaire. Every dollar counts. Unlike financing, where a 10% difference in sales price might increase your monthly payment in a very small way. It's almost insignificant. But when you're paying cash, every dollar really counts, okay? So let me show you what's been going on the last 3 years here. This one was listed for 2.9 in landfall. There's one for 2.25. Wow, look at that picture there. That's also in landfall. Then the 09 zip code, here's one in 09, Masonboro Sound. That's the Masonboro area. So lots of expireds. And the reason this subject comes up recently is here's one in Masonboro, 2.95 expired. I had folks interested in a listing over $5 million. I'm not going to tell you which listing it is because I don't want to get people angry at me for explaining why their listing is extremely overpriced and making that case. So I'll just mention it vaguely. It's over $5 million. So what's it really worth? How do you know what to pay for it? These Intracoastal waterfront homes are just amazing sometimes. They come in all sorts of different styles too. But as you can see from about 18 of these or so that expired, all of them, lots of them were listed 2.2, 3.6 million, 3.6 million. That is a high sales price. Wouldn't you agree? Where are they coming up with these numbers and why aren't they selling? So number one, the buyers here, they're mostly here to buy a second home, and that means they're looking up to 5 years in advance for the home, okay? There's not significant urgency there, and we're just competing with Charleston and Savannah or Florida or the mountains. So the type of person buying these multi-million-dollar Intracoastal waterway front or ICW front homes in Wilmington, they don't have urgency usually. They're just figuring out where they want to be. It's their final resting place. Unlike Northern Virginia, where I do real estate too, and did it for 15 years there. My last 2 sales before moving here were 1.7 and 1.1 million. And there you have people buying all these $2 and $3 million houses, and they have to buy it this month or next month because they have a new job. It's a job market, not a retirement market. So huge difference. Therefore, overwhelmingly, folks coming down here do not have the same intensity to buy something soon. They're thinking about buying one in the next few years. They take their time and look a long time. But seriously, you got here a closing for $2 million in Masonboro. You got another one here for $2.9 million. Okay, oh, that looks cool. And then 2.1, 2.8, very coastal looking house here. So in several years, the highest sale you have is 2.8 and 2.9 million. So if you're listing your home for over $5 million, do you really think someone's going to pay $2 million more than any other house that has sold in years? I think you're deluding yourself. Now, how do we find out what the value of these homes are? Well, let's look at a couple of solds here, the high-end solds. You got this one here, and that was in landfall. I'd rather stick to examples in Masonboro. This one on Shinwood. This closed for 2.825. Here's the view from the house. Really amazing views, incredible swimming pool, just big water views that you would expect, Excuse the clicking on the screen, but I know it makes a noise. The back side of the house. Okay, just wonderful. The details on it, I call it the dirty details. Here we go. It's 0.98 acres. Okay. The house that my people were interested in was 7 acres, intracoastal front property. So what do you do for the extra 6 acres? Well, something to keep in mind, 6 of the acres are not waterfront property. They're interior property. Only the last acre is on the water itself in most cases, because they're sort of like shoebox parcels normally. And that way as many lots get to the water as possible. So if you're generous, you call it $200,000 a lot times 5 extra acres. There's $1 million. Well, so you would take this 2.8 and go up. Now you're at 3.8 million. Well, this house, sure, it's pretty and everything. Okay, don't get me wrong, but it's not a to die for stately, authoritative house. Okay, the kind that a certain level of ego demands. So if you're dealing with a brick colonial stately type of home, I know it's ambiguous and vague, but that can easily elicit another $500,000, that level of curb appeal and stateliness compared to a regular coastal home. Okay, so with all that, you have to consider here, this view, it's not all that exclusive. There's a community boat slips here. So it's not even the best waterfront property because you're sharing the view. You have to look at other people's boats. What's up with that? So even if you go up to 3.8 million for the extra land, if the other property is much more stately with a better view, then you're up there like just over 4 million. So that's still like much lower than 5.5 or 5.25 million. Let me find a better example though here on the waterfront. This one closed for 2.5. Okay, it's a coastal looking home. Let's see if I can erase this thing here. All right. Oh, that's a nice kitchen, isn't it? Wow. I'm ready to cook there. Here's the water view of it. Again, looking out at boat slips. That one closed 2.5. How many acres is it? It's just 0.36 acres, so it's nothing. So if 2.5, you add $1 million for the extra land, now you're at 3.5. You take a home that's much more stately and exclusive, and you add 500 to it, and you're at 4 million for the sort of the creme de la creme home that closed. I had a better example. I'm really trying to show it to you, and now in the live moment, I've lost it. Very frustrating. Yeah. So we'll use the one in landfall then. This was 1.74 acres, okay, right there. And this closed for 2.9 million. And let's see, when did it close? 2014. Let's see what the water view is like. Ooh, look at that landscaping. Incredible views from the windows. All right, and the views are exclusive. They're not looking at someone else's boats, okay? So that's an amazing property. But it only closed for 2.9, and it's almost 2 acres. So we add another 5 acres, and now you're at 3.9. And if your home is extremely stately, you can even go up from there. So you might get to 4.2 million. So you're still $1 million below 5+ million. And people listing that high are just deluding themselves. Okay. So that's sort of how you run the numbers and get to places. Often what you're going to have to do is make an offer on a waterfront home in Wilmington, in Masonboro, or a landfall waterfront home for sale, negotiate a while and walk away, come back in a month and start the conversation over. Okay. Now, what's interesting with a lot of these homes, this one, let's see what the history is. Originally listed 3.1 almost 3.5, and it closed for 2.9. Okay, so that sort of makes the point that I'm getting to. Usually with most homes in Wilmington, you're talking like a 96% ratio, sold price to list price. With these high-end homes, sometimes it comes all the way down to 80%. So that sort of follows some of what I've been saying. You know, a home listed for $5.5 million, if it sells for $4 million, there we are. We're down to 80%. And you find these bigger gaps between the ratios, sold price to list price, with the luxury homes that involve lots of more money. Usually there's a much bigger window for negotiating. You just have to help the seller deal with reality. I like to do it with video email. That way I'm directly communicating to the face of the seller. All listing agents so far have forwarded my thoughts, comps, analysis, entreaties to the sellers to consider. And it's gone very well for my clients in different price ranges. All right, thanks so much. Again, I'm Jay of WilmingtonRealEstate.com, Wilmington-Real-Estate.com. My superior website, though, for searching creekfront, intracoastal waterway front, oceanfront, ocean view properties from Sunset Beach all the way up to Emerald Isle, Atlantic Beach, North Topsail Beach, etc. My main website is JustNewListings.com. Just select Wilmington and the surrounding beaches. There's 30 variables you can work with, and I look forward to negotiating the best deal for you, period.